Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Tuesday, the 25th of January. It's Burns night, no less. I'm joined this morning by Joshua Barrie, as ever. How are we doing, Joshua?
Yeah, fine. I didn't realise it was Burns night, so...
Yeah, me neither. I just remembered there. So will you be having haggis, neeps and tatties tonight?
No, and I'm the designated cooker tonight, and I haven't planned this into the menu.
Shame on you.
Shame on me. We might maybe have a late substitution, but no, all well. Looking forward to the game tomorrow, and some Rangers chat as ever.
Yeah, there's plenty to get our teeth stuck into as ever, folks. Remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, so many of you are, just hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video when we go live. And also, our offer on the Rangers Review site just now for January, a fantastic offer. It's absolutely free for the first month, so do go check it out. See if it's for you. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. It's just £2.99 per month thereafter, but the first month absolutely free. So make sure you take advantage of that before it runs out at the end of the month. Okay, let's talk Rangers then, Joshua. Bit of a story that sort of emerged yesterday with regards to Connor Goldson. Reports down south saying that Nottingham Forest and West Brom are interested in securing a pre-contract agreement for the 29-year-old. Of course, he's entered into his final 6 months of his contract at Ibrox. It means that he's free to speak to other clubs. And apparently the two championship sides who are doing reasonably well in the division down here are looking to bring him in the summer. It's no surprise, I think, that clubs down there will be looking at Connor Goldson. Joshua, he's to get him on a Bosman would be a fantastic signing for any club, I feel. Of course, he's not signed that contract yet. What do you make of these reports that were emerging yesterday?
Yeah, you're right. He hasn't signed that contract, and I guess there's still always that hope in the back of your mind that he might do that. A lot of transfer business at Rangers seems to be done quietly, and I know sometimes the lack of rumours probably makes for supporters want to know that the club are looking into players, but I think they very much do their business in quiet, which certainly seems like a good thing from the outset. Goldson, I think if he was to go down south, Derek, he'd want to go somewhere that was going to be in the Premier League, whether that be through promotion this year or not. I certainly think that you could play at a Premier League level. But there's certainly movement, and with the Souttar reports and Nielsen's comments about that, there's certainly movement in terms of Rangers looking to bring someone in perhaps sooner than the summer as well. So, who knows? You wrote a piece on the website today which kind of went into more detail about Goldson and why he'll be fondly remembered. And I tend to agree with that opinion. I think he's given 4 great years to Rangers, hardly missed a game. You've seen him, playing his heart out against Stirling Albion on Friday. I think his attitude's always been really, really good at Ibrox. So one of these ones, I think you just need to see what plays out, Derek, and I'm sure the club will know if there's any indication of Goldson signing on. I'm sure the club will know, and if not, then they'll be moving for other targets. I know we've been linked with a lot of other centre backs in this window, so I'm sure the club will be very aware of what Goldson's thinking. Yeah,
I put a piece out this morning, folks, on the site, just saying that if he does leave Connor Goldson, then he leaves a modern day hero, pretty much at Rangers. I think he's provided fantastic service. His consistency has been second to none, and he's been a real rock in which Rangers have built their recent success around. So for me, I think, in the summertime, there was a lot of supporters that felt that Rangers should have cashed in on him, but that hasn't been the case, and I think his surge in form under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has been great to see as well. He's brought on Calvin Bassey, leaps and bounds alongside him, with the omission at Leon Balogun and Phil Hollander, of course. So I think he's one of those players, Joshua, when he does leave, Rangers are going to miss. Don't realise how much they'll miss him till he leaves. I know there's talk John Souttar, and we'll touch on him very shortly indeed, the boy from Vitesse, Danilo Doke. But Goldson has been a rock in which Rangers have built that success in the last few seasons.
And it's hard to come in and kind of replicate that, because obviously last season Goldson was so dominant, and since Van Bronckhorst came in and the structures changed a little bit and the team have looked better defensively, I think Goldson's looked excellent again. So it's not as if whoever's coming into that back line is necessarily going to be able to improve it right away, because it's at a really high standard. Goldson and Bassey as a partnership seem to have worked really well. Both have good recovery pace behind them, allows them to play a high line, really aggressive, and when they're defending 1v1. So yeah, it'll be a hard one to replace. I imagine if Goldson does go, that it won't just be Souttar that comes in; it'll be another centre back as well. You've got to obviously remember that Rangers are going up a level, hopefully in European competition, and hope to be playing Champions League football at the start of next season. So they'll have to be well equipped for that, and you know. It isn't. You know, there's a lot of comments saying, why does Goldson want to go down to Nottingham Forest if there's the potential of Champions League football at Rangers? And I guess you never know what, if a player wants to move back to be with the family, if they think they can get into the Premier League. Lots of factors come into it, but yeah, the Champions League maybe certainly still is something about a pull in terms of keeping players like Goldson at Rangers.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in. There's one here from James Strachan. Good to have your company as ever, James. Do you think Goldson will stay if we get into the Champions League? Just what you touched on there, Joshua. I think it's hard because players are human beings at the end of the day as well. They've got personal lives. Of course, Goldson's family. It'll be closer to his family if he moves back down south. And after 4 seasons at Rangers, I don't think anyone would begrudge him his wish if he wishes to move back down south. And that's to say, if he doesn't sign a new contract, he may very well do. But if he decides to move back down the road, very much like Steven Gerrard mentioned previously when he left, I don't think you can begrudge players that when they get the chance to move back down the road, especially given the service that he's given Rangers.
Yeah, and you touched on this in your article, Derek, and he has he's hardly missed a game, and he's been really. There's always those moments. I remember when he attempted that ill-fated drag back against Hamilton, the 1-0 defeat. And
Yeah.
it was a low moment in his Rangers career, but seems a long time ago now. And again, as you said in that article, Derek, Goldson walked into a club that you'll remember, the Hibs 5, Rangers 5, the last day of the season. I think Rangers actually went 5-3 up on that day and conceded 2 late goals. You know, he wasn't coming into a good structure. Rangers needed a spine of the team that they could build around Goldson and Katic. Were that to get Rangers into the Europa League group stages that first season, which for the club's development was of real importance. So I think what he's done for the club is goes a little bit beyond kind of. It's not as if a player just come for 4 years and taking their wages. I think he's really put his heart and soul into the club, and has been very impressive. And I think supporters, the majority, seems to be, you know, the fact that people want him to stay is goodwill enough. You know, obviously after the League Cup semi-final, there was some anger directed his way. I think in hindsight, looking back in those comments, he was hurting and trying to be honest. And sometimes perhaps we'd rather footballers be honest like that as opposed to just regurgitating answers that we know aren't genuine. So yeah, definitely the desire to keep him at the club is compliment enough for him, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. An interesting question here from Ross Chalmers. He says, "Morning, guys. If Rangers can move some players on in this January," he says, "Alexa Barker, Simpson, Lundstram, etc., could you see Rangers being willing to put some of the saved wages towards Goldson's new contract?" It's an interesting one. He mentioned 2 players that we talked about yesterday, Joshua, Barker and Simpson. They don't appear to be in the manager's plans, despite playing, of course, on Friday night. Could you see a bit of activity before the window closes in terms of players moving out?
I think on that, I think I'm right in saying that Ross Wilson said at the latest AGM he was speaking about the wage structure. Derek, you might have to keep me right, but I'm pretty sure he was. So I don't think it will so much come into can Rangers afford to pay Goldson a few more thousand a month. I think it comes into kind of probably the long negotiations and staying within wage structures and all that jazz. So I do think that players will move out, but then also if a player like Barker is on a sizable amount of money at Rangers, it's probably quite hard to find someone that'll pay him the same, and these things also come into it. I'd guess when you're trying to negotiate a transfer, I'd find it hard to believe that Rangers don't bring anyone in this window. As we said a lot, that was what Ross Wilson said. If a player went out, the money would be reimbursed, if you will, some of it into the transfer budgets. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst said last week, or maybe about 10 days ago now, about there being the mobility to move within the transfer market because they have a budget. So I think, as I say, the club will just be doing their business in quiet. And again, I think if any supporters are slightly hesitant at the lack of noises coming out, pointing to the manager appointment and all the work in the background that went into that, meant that Rangers could appoint a manager within a number of days. They're a well-run club with good processes, and the appointing a manager who could continue the good work and retain their place at the top of the league, retain their run in Europe, that was all done really successfully because of the background work. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the lack of noises. I think that's just par for the course with the type of club that Rangers are and the way they want to do the business.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about John Souttar, because Craig Levein has been speaking. He said he was quizzed on, of course, John Souttar not in the Hearts squad against Auchinleck Talbot at the weekend in the Scottish Cup. Robbie Nielsen said he was injured. But Craig Levein says he doesn't quite buy that reason. But he did say that he's heard that Hearts' asking price is more than double the £300,000 offer they were reportedly holding out for. So if we take this as gospel, Joshua, Hearts looking for £600,000 for John Souttar, for a player that's out of contract, Rangers can pick up for free in the summer. I think that I think £300,000 for me is a very reasonable offer, and I don't think they're getting anywhere near £600,000. What's your standing on that one?
Yeah, it's a lot of money, isn't it? And I guess maybe Rangers have that to spend because of the Patterson transfer, but I think if a centre back was to be brought in this window, but no kind of attacking option from the right, or a little bit more depth at number 8, I don't think that would necessarily be the right decision. And also, I still don't see at the moment where Souttar's minutes would come ahead, unless he was to play ahead of Goldson. You've also got to remember that Phil Hollander's coming back, Liam Balogun's there, Leon King's there. And although Leon Balogun might not get a new Rangers contract, that's still, you don't want to have kind of wages sitting about, not even in the squad. So certainly seems like there will be some movement in and around that area. But yeah, I'd expect Souttar to play tomorrow against Celtic if he's still at Hearts by then, which you'd imagine they would be, because they'll want to put out their strongest team to try and win that game at Tynecastle. But yeah, £600,000 would be a lot of money for a player. So it's slightly more than the $50,000 that was paid for Glenn Kamara in a pre-contract deal.
Yeah, Terry Munro says Souttar and King a future partnership. Wouldn't mind that at all. That's certainly one that you could possibly look forward to in the future. Interesting point here from James Strachan. Said, I think we need to give Alex Lowry a new contract. What do you guys think? There is a report this morning suggesting Rangers are looking at that. He's got 18 months left on his deal, Alex Lowry. Brought to the fore, of course. He's doing so well in the B team. And that saw him rewarded with a first-team opportunity on Friday night. And he scored as well on his debut. I'm all for tying down young players, Joshua. And I think this wouldn't be a bad move if Rangers were to do this.
Yeah, he did look really good on Friday night, Derek, and took his chance really well. And obviously we spoke about that composure and confidence coming onto the pitch and how important that is at Rangers. I think he's a type of player that seems to, I can't imagine him being as effective in a team that doesn't have a lot of the ball. He didn't seem to be someone that was going to run beyond the defensive line. He looked pretty good one-on-one, but I don't think he really has the pace to play it wide, unless he played out on the right for part of the game on Friday, but that was with Barker coming outside of him or Tavernier coming outside of him, lots of rotations in there. But yeah, I think he certainly at Rangers, in a Rangers team with lots of the ball and lots of ability to play quick combination football in and around the box, really suited him. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets minutes over the next few games. We've spoken extensively about Will Van Bronckhorst kind of model what Advocaat did, and give young players a chance as soon as they're ready, and you're good enough if you're old enough, or you're old enough, you're good enough, whatever way around it is. Lowry certainly is in a position, it plays in a position that requires a little bit more depth in the first team. So I could certainly see him being involved tomorrow against Livingston. You've also got to remember that we've got 5 subs in the Premiership now as well, so it's not inconceivable at all.
Yeah, what do you make of this comment from Gary Gray, Joshua? It says, with Aribo coming back, it may be best to get Lowry out on loan. Now, I know at the end of the game on Friday night, that was a topic of discussion between the likes of Ali McCoy and Kevin Thompson, who joked that he's tried to get some of Rangers' best crop over to his Kelty Hearts side. I wouldn't have any qualms about the likes of Alex Lowry going to a Kelty Hearts, for example, or teams of that ilk, just to gain their experience. I think it's all very well and good playing in the Lowland League, which is great experience in itself. But I think this is a boy that maybe needs to bridge that gap between the B team and the first team. And I think if you send him out on loan to a Championship or a League One club, it may do him the world of good.
Yeah, but I guess you've got to find the right fit of if he goes to play League Two football, how different is that to the Lowland League? You got to get him, I guess, training. So at the moment is training with the first team a lot. Develop, Nathan Patterson didn't go out on loan, and that didn't hinder his development because of the opposition he was playing against, and the fact that he was at Rangers every single day, able to be developed by the coaches there every single day. So I guess if you could find a situation that suited them, that would make sense. But I think increasingly you'll see it's within this structure that there's not as much of a dependence on loan deals because of the first team football against, as Lowry said, against men week in, week out. The Rangers are playing, and obviously he's playing within a system, as I've just said, that I think suits his credentials of being possession dominant, getting a lot of the ball and being able to dictate stuff. So who knows? I tend to think that he might just stick around for the remainder of the season. And I know it's still an Albion that Rangers were playing against, but they're not a League Two opposition. But you've seen, if you were at the game on what day was it, Friday, there were no pushovers, to use a cliche. And I'm sure that, again, if Lowry was to be put in the Premiership against Livingston tomorrow, I don't think, just from watching him in that game, I don't think he looks like a player that would look immediately out of place, because he has a technical ability. Often I think when players come into the first team, they perhaps don't have the composure and the kind of mental calmness to go and play their own game. But that's what he did, and that's what he repeated a lot in the press conference. So certainly one to keep an eye on, but maybe the 5 subs just helps his case a little bit. He can still play regular football in the B team and try and bridge that gap while training with the first team squad.
Yeah, as we touched on yesterday, with the Scottish Cup draw, when Rangers paired away to Annan, it may give another opportunity for Giovanni van Bronckhorst to play the likes of Alex Lowry, Leon King, Charlie McCann, who I think a lot of supporters are itching to see as well. So a lot of great talent coming out of the academy right now. Okay, folks, that'll do us there. Thanks to everyone for getting in touch. As ever, the interaction is very much appreciated. If you haven't already done so, just hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you watch us there. And if you've not taken advantage of the fantastic offer we've got on the Rangers Review site just now, then I very much urge you to do so. It's absolutely free for the first month. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. It's £2.99 per month thereafter. But a great offer. Go and have a look and have a see if it's for you. Thanks everyone for getting in touch. We'll have a big preview looking ahead to the Livingston game tomorrow. But until then, enjoy the rest.